So, if you're infertile, whether you just found out today or have known for basically ever, you've probably thought about sharing your infertility story. In the past, people rarely ever talked about infertility because it was seen as embarrassing and shameful. Now, thank God, people are way less uncool about it, but it can still be a big, scary thing. If you want to hear my list of pros and cons for sharing your infertility story, keep watching. Hey guys, I hope you're all still staying safe and healthy. I know it's been a while since I made a video, sorry. I've just been super busy with school and with my typical MO of taking on way more than any one human can actually accomplish. You know how it is. Something that I try to make time for no matter how busy I am though is sharing our infertility story with others. I've decided that I'm going to use our struggle for good, and I'm determined to stick with it no matter how many days I have where I kind of wish I had never said a word. And believe me, those days definitely exist. So I feel like the best way to make decisions, for me at least, is to make a pros and cons list. You'll have your own specific pros and cons, like the pro of getting your grandma to finally stop bugging you about when you're going to have kids, or the con of having Karen at work try to sell you essential oils, again, but this is kind of a general list. I'm gonna start with the cons because I hate bad news and like to get it out of the way. So con number 1. It can be embarrassing. If you're the type of person that's a little squeamish about your bodily functions, or at least don't enjoy discussing your sex life in normal conversation, sharing your infertility story can make things super awkward. I've either personally had or have heard numerous stories of people offering sex tips, asking when your last period was and what it's like, asking when you last had sex and what you did right after sex, and the list goes on. People in general want to be helpful, but unless they're a doctor or you're super close with them, they really shouldn't be asking about that sort of thing. Unfortunately, they will. So that is definitely one for the con list. Con number 2 is probably an obvious one. People will continuously offer you terrible, heartless, or just ridiculously stupid advice and products. You remember the Karen I mentioned before that always tries to sell you essential oils? Well, now there will be a whole army of Karens all trying to sell you some random, probably not FDA approved, fertility products. They'll try to sell you essential oils, weight loss supplements, fertility-friendly lubricants, weight loss supplements, vitamins, sexy lingerie, weight loss supplements, etc., etc., until you've officially seen every single multi-level marketing product your old high school friends have to offer, and you're ready to quit Facebook altogether because even cute cat pictures aren't worth it anymore. Even worse than the annoying product pushers are the people that say they're just joking when they're saying things like, if you want kids so bad, you can have mine, ha ha ha. Oh, he's not up to the job, huh? Try me out then. Or my least favorite, come on, trying's the fun part! The absolute worst part of this, for me at least, are the people that are really honestly trying to help, but say the same 5 things that everyone tells infertile people. Just relax. Just adopt. Once you quit trying, it'll happen for sure. Have you tried losing weight? And the classic, my cousin's neighbor's brother's coworker's sister tried one of Karen's products and got pregnant right away. So yeah, chalk all that up to a definite in the con column. Con number 3 is probably one I won't be able to be quite as witty about, so I apologize for that in advance. Con number 3 is that when you share your story about infertility, people tend to automatically assume you're open to adoption and try to offer you every infant they think might need a home. While this is incredibly sweet, it can end up in some pretty terrible heartache. I've mentioned before that we had a failed adoption a few years ago. The short version of that is that I was approached by a friend of a friend that knew we were trying to get pregnant and offered us her baby that was due in 4 months. We mulled it over hardcore, prayed on it, asked the advice of basically everyone we knew, and decided to go for it. We went with her to doctor visits, had a baby shower, decorated a nursery, the whole thing. Not only did it feel like we were about to finally have the munchkin that we had been waiting for, but we fell in love with his mother and couldn't wait to make her part of our family too. Unfortunately for us, but fortunately for her, she decided to parent right before he was born. To say we were devastated would be the understatement of the century. We did actually run into her after the baby was born and were so happy to see that they were both doing really well. That whole thing, though, was the absolute worst pain I've ever felt in my life. It took us years to move past it, and we still have days where we struggle. That would have been bad enough, but just a few months ago, we were approached again, this time by a family member who, through a friend of a friend, knew of a baby that was suddenly without parents and was looking for someone to take the child in. We were super hesitant, but again, decided to go for it. It was nowhere near as bad as the first one, but when nothing ended up coming of it, and once again, we had gotten our hopes up only to have them squashed, it was pretty freaking awful. So yeah, this is definitely something to consider if you're thinking of sharing your story. So that was a big bummer. It sounds like the perfect time to start the pro list. So pro number 1, it can give purpose to your pain. When you first get diagnosed with infertility, it can feel so overwhelming. You might have gotten an exact answer on what's causing your infertility, or you might have gotten branded with unexplained infertility. But either way, you feel lost and might not even feel like you know how to be you anymore. Telling others about your story can give your struggle a purpose. I know that our infertility is still painful, but having a place to share that pain and maybe helping others from it is incredibly rewarding. If you remember what I said earlier, I mentioned how it's only in more recent years that people are regularly sharing their story. You might think that you don't need to share your story because so many other people already have. But, while the people that have shared so far have been incredibly helpful for the cause, there is still a huge stigma surrounding infertility. Your voice might be the one voice on infertility that someone actually hears or listens to. The second pro is that you can help educate others on infertility. So in a perfect world, everyone could eat all the carbs they want and never gain weight. You could get energy by reading books or something and not have to waste time sleeping. And people wouldn't ask stupid questions about topics they shouldn't be asking about. Unfortunately, looking at a potato chip makes me gain 10 pounds, I never get enough sleep because I hate taking the time for it, and people still constantly ask women when they're going to have kids. After you sigh, mentally roll your eyes at hearing this question yet again, and tell them that you're actually infertile, you'll either get a nervous smile, no eye contact, and a muttered thoughts and prayers while they think of an excuse to run away, or you'll get treated to some of the oh-so-wonderful advice I talked about earlier. While it's super easy to just smile and nod while mentally thinking about those potato chips I mentioned, it's usually worth a shot to try to educate them at least a little bit. When we were first trying, and I told people that we were seeing a doctor right away because of my endometriosis and such, we heard a lot of variations on stories about how everyone seemed to know someone that tried and tried and tried for 5 years or more, and then just randomly got pregnant. Most people think that this is totally normal. If you've watched my other videos and or Googled infertility even just a little bit, you probably know that if you've been trying for more than a year, or 6 months if you're over 35, and haven't had luck, you should probably see a specialist. Everyone I told this information seemed totally shocked. It's boggling to me that this is still something people believe, but it really is. Not to mention that they've already given their bad advice and asked their tactless questions to you, but you may be at least able to prevent them from repeating it to another infertile couple. One last pro for the list, and the one I believe is the most important, is that you might be the one voice that someone hears when it comes to infertility. I can't tell you how wonderful it feels to have someone tell you that they decided to go to the doctor to get checked out because of something that you said. I can't tell you how rewarding it is to have someone tell you that you helped them understand something that they had never understood before. I can't tell you how insanely amazing it feels to have someone share with you that they don't feel alone anymore because they heard your story. And I can't tell you how comforting it feels to have someone tell you that you don't have to deal with the pain of infertility isolated and alone. Sharing your story is hard. No matter what you decide, there will always be days when you wished you had picked the other choice. In the end, you have to make the decision for yourself, or you and your partner need to decide together. But either way, I can't tell you what to do, which is unfortunate because I'm super bossy. If you choose not to share, you're no less awesome. Your infertility and your pain are no less valid. You're still not alone, and I hope you never feel isolated or disappointed in yourself because you didn't feel you could or didn't feel that you wanted to share. I think you're a hero either way, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you do decide to share, though, don't fool yourself into believing that every day will be sunshine and rainbows, because they most definitely won't be. Like I said before, there will be days when you will question what crazy idea made you decide to talk about your struggle. But on those days, I hope you won't forget the good that you've done and will continue to do. You're awesome, and I and every other infertile person out there appreciate your choice. So that's my list of pros and cons. What do you think about my list? Do you think I missed a pro? Maybe a con? Either way, let me know in the comments below. If you want to connect with me before I post my next video, here are the links to all of my social media goodies. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click the button here or down there. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. I know what I'm doing, I swear.
Yeah.
Alright, you're recording again. No, alright. I should know that by now, you'd think, but do I look okay? I mean, okay, thank you.
That's lovely.
Thank you.
Luckily, it doesn't pick up smell.
Oh, rude. I showered, thank you very much.
No.
Do it! Do it! I've decided that I'm gonna... No. Ugh, so many words. See, I'm the good one.
Gotta have it eventually.
Oh, rude. Your vice. Your vice. Yeah?